Support for this podcast comes from today's military. You have a calling, we have an answer.
You want to have meaning in whatever you do, from improving your community to making the world a better place. You can find that fulfillment in today's military. You have a calling, we have an answer. Learn more at today'smilitary.com.
Empire.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of the podcast. I'll be running some draft day memories from various players throughout the month. Not a lot, but enough to give you a taste of what their draft day experience was like. It's different for everyone. So I'm going to start with former Washington tackle Jon Jansen. What part for him was the coolest, and what team did he think that he was going to go to? I also talked to Chris Thompson for a couple minutes about his draft day memories. Did he cry? Don't forget, you can read my work on ESPN.com. We'll be having all sorts of draft coverage throughout the month, of course. Now, here is Jon Jansen with his draft day memories. All right, Jon Jansen, second round pick in 1999. What do you remember about draft day? What stood out to you?
What stood out to me, thankfully at that time, it was, 3 rounds on day one, so that I felt comfortable being a, first day pick. Now with only 1 round, it's a very select few that get that first day phone call. So I just remember the feeling of excitement, that a dream that I had worked towards, and really identified as a kid, whether it was, in middle school, early high school, but then obviously pursued it at Michigan, that a dream was coming true, that it didn't mean I was going to play in the NFL, but it meant that I was going to have an opportunity to get on the field and try and make and try and continue the dream I was living of, playing the game of football.
What's it like to hear your name called?
It's one of the coolest things because you spend, when you're at a program like Michigan, you spend your years there as soon as the season's over. And, early in my career, it was Ty Law, or, it's other guys that are getting ready for the draft. And then you see their name go across the ticker. It's a special moment because it's finally somebody that, it's somebody that it makes it seem real. And then all of a sudden, not only do you get your name called and you get a phone call from the coach, from the, administration, whoever it is, that makes that call, but to see your name go across the bottom of ESPN on the ticker or anything that you're watching right now, it's just a great feeling that is, it's hard to put into words because it seems like such a small thing, but that ticker runs, all weekend. And you continue to see your name and it continues to, at some point it becomes a little bit more real. At first it's so surreal because only a select few get that opportunity, get that phone call. And I was so blessed to be able to have that opportunity. What
do you remember about the day in terms of like celebration or anything like that? What did you do? And you don't have to stay clean on this one. Or I shouldn't say clean. I don't know what I'm just talking about. If you're having too many beverages. Yeah, I don't know if you're having many beverages or whatever. But what do you remember about that?
I just remember I wanted to be with my family. I was never a guy that was going to rent out a bar or rent out a movie theater. And it really wasn't kind of the thing at that time. It's become more of the rage now. But I just remember being around my family, and every time the phone would ring, and it was usually family and friends. Hey, have you heard anything? No, as soon as I do, I'll let you know. And and then I would finally say, every time the phone rings, I think it's somebody, so please don't call until it's over. And it's hard to manage that, but just the excitement, the anticipation. And I was so grateful to be around, mom, dad, my brothers were there, and just spend that moment with them because they were a large part of why I had that opportunity. And they were my support group through high school, through college. And it was great to be able to share that moment because it meant as much to them as it did to me.
Do you celebrate with a little toast? Do you have a little toast? Or what, do you do anything like that? Or is it just like a quiet moment? Do you go out to dinner? What do you do after?
You know what? After I got the phone call, so I got the phone call from Russ Grimm, and
then beer has to be involved.
Yeah, you would think that came later when I actually got to DC. and had a chance to meet all the wonderful reporters at the press conference. I don't really remember what happened that night, not because of any other reason other than I just still couldn't believe that it was real. Plus the fact that, Washington had drafted Champ Bailey in the first round. And then there was so much going on with the trades and Ricky, Williams and all of that stuff going on that I was really just trying to prepare for what am I going to wear tomorrow? Because I was flying to Washington to meet the media and to meet the coaches and find out where I was going to be living, what I was going to be doing, and a little bit more about the Washington Redskins at the time. So I was more concerned with trying to make sure that I put the right foot forward when I got there than I was of celebrating and traveling to Washington with a terrible headache. The headaches came later.
Well, I was surprised that you chose the one-piece jumpsuit for your outfit at the press conference.
Well, you know what? If it had been a year later, I probably would have arrived with Dion, and we would have had a chance to wear matching suits.
Last thing then on this, because that was that Ricky Williams trade. That was that draft. What do you remember thinking when you saw that? And then, you you become a part of that group, but what did you remember thinking about that trade?
I couldn't believe that Mike Ditka had done it, a trade like that, had given up so many picks. But it obviously worked out for me, and it worked out for a lot of other guys that, in where they ended up. And it was instrumental, obviously, in me ending up in Washington, because I believe there were some picks traded because the 40th pick is where Washington, I think, was supposed to pick. The Bears were at 37. And, I know I spent a decade there, but I had grown up a Bears fan.
Right.
And when the phone rang, I thought I was going to be a Chicago Bear. But
Really?
It was Russ Grimm. And, hey, we're trading up to get you at 37. And anytime a team trades for you, that means something. I don't care if it's 1 spot, 2 spots, 3 spots. That means something. That means to me, they actually want me. They think they could lose me in the next couple of picks. They wanted me, and that meant a lot to me.
Thanks, John. I appreciate that. Great stuff. After this break, I'll be back with Chris Thompson talking about his draft day memories.
Support for this podcast comes from Fordham University's Gabelli School of Business. For over 100 years, the Gabelli School of Business at Fordham University has produced the values-driven leaders that modern business demands. The Gabelli School of Business offers full and part-time MBAs for those who learn as boldly as they live. From marketing and finance to analytics and accounting, you'll practice business with purpose, taught by world-class professors in the heart of New York City or online from wherever you call home. Get started today at fordham.edu/MBA.
Welcome back. Now here's Chris Thompson. What do you remember about being drafted? What was that day and that moment like for you?
Nerve-wracking. My heart was beating fast the whole time. Didn't think I was going to get drafted at all. But like that, because I got drafted on day 3. And just that day, I remember sitting in the corner because I was at my uncle's house and my family was over there with me, just sitting in the corner, like checking my phone, like constantly just waiting for a phone call. So anybody that called me, friends, my agent texted me. I'm like, look, I don't want to hear from any of y'all. I'm trying to see an unknown number pop up on my phone. The only call, thankfully, because I was talking to some of my college teammates at the time, and they were like, yeah, this team reached out to me. They say they about to pick me up. And then some of them didn't even get drafted or didn't get drafted by the teams that said it. And I was thankful to receive one call. And that was from Coach Shanahan. I talked to him first, and he was like, how would you like to be, a Redskin? I mean, that was the most exciting moment of my life. And then the running back coach, Bobby T, hit me up right after, and he was like, man, you didn't think I was going to take you? He was like, I was calling you every weekend. It was a reason why I was keeping in contact with you. And I was like, look, man, I'm 22. I don't know about this stuff. Like, I figure all coaches will just do that. But it was crazy because he was the only one that I was consistently hearing from. And just thankful. 7 years later, like, it worked out.
Do you get emotional at that moment after it happens? Like, how do you react when you get off the phone? do you cry? Do you jump up and down? What do you do?
I didn't know how to feel. Like, I was excited, but I didn't know, like, it didn't hit me until the next day. Like, I woke up and I was like, I'm really in the NFL. Like, I'm about to leave well, I think it was a month. I'm about to leave in a month and be in a whole nother city that I've never been to, like, living out my dream. And it was just crazy. Like, my parents, my mom was crying and everything, but like, I was excited. I shed a tear or two, but it didn't hit me till the next day.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Chris, I appreciate it, man. This was really good. And like I said, it's great catching up with you. And I sincerely mean that. You're always one of my favorites to deal with. Just,
I appreciate it.
You know, just a good guy, fun to talk to, smart, insightful, and just professional. So, you know, but I'll always be checking out on you.
Okay.
That's it for this episode. Told you it'd be quick. Thanks to Jon Jansen and Chris Thompson for joining me. And thank you for listening. I'll have more of these throughout the month. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll talk to you next time.